What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by, spending a few minutes of your time with me today. Um, if you've been here for a week or two, then you know that I've started to read this book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I've read it before in the past, so really I'm rereading it, and I was inspired to do so through a conversation I had in the comment section of a random YouTube video, right? So I started that, and about 4 hours into the audiobook version, I sort of decided that I had enough. I didn't want to read it anymore. For some reason, it seemed so repetitive to me. But I had like one main concern, one main grievance, I guess, with what I was reading. Eckhart Tolle, I've listened to him speak on multiple occasions, like on YouTube and stuff like that, and he's a brilliant individual, a real gem of a human being that I'm grateful to have the chance to experience, right? And he says many beautiful things in this book about various religions of the world, specifically Christianity. He seems to share this respect for Christianity. And about halfway through the book, by this time, Eckhart has quoted Jesus probably 10 times and has used various other biblical scriptures to sort of make his point, right, with his personal interpretation of these scriptures. And it makes a lot of sense. What he's saying makes a whole lot of sense. But he sort of draws this line with religion and says that the problem that we see with most of these religions is that they are fear-based, that there is some sort of threat of eternal damnation or something like this if you were to leave the religion or refuse to join the religion. And we have seen plenty of, atrocities, human atrocities committed in the name of God all around the world. So that's his main grievance with religion, and why he decided personally to not, go to church or something like this. But then, just following all of this, Eckhart begins to say that everything that you see in the external world that you would say is negative, like climate change or ozone depletion, pollution of all sorts, right? All of this is simply a reflection of some sort of defunct spiritual knowledge of the human being, right? That this is all an outer manifestation of an inward pollution, of an inward toxicity existing in the hearts and minds of human beings. And goes on to say that there is a way to escape this dysfunctional mind and enter into a new, expanded version of consciousness or awareness. But if you don't do this, if human beings as a whole don't commit to this new form of thinking, then not only will they suffer in this life and die, but they will in fact destroy the planet. So you're not worried about necessarily dying and going to hell according to Eckhart Tolle, but you're worried more so about the destruction of the planet, that if you don't fix what's going on in your mind, then you will destroy the planet. So there is still this sort of veiled threat there, and I just couldn't reconcile that in my mind. But other than that, a lot of the stuff that he's saying makes complete sense about not identifying with this narrative of thought that tends to consume us and possess us and make us worry and be anxious and be stressed out all of the time. There is a way to take a higher perspective on life and sort of escape these lower emotions, or rather understand these lower emotions as what they are, as not being you per se, right? So there's a lot of value in what he said. But the other day, this is what I'm excited to talk to you about. The other day, my wife and I decided to go to like a thrift store just to see if there was anything interesting there. Me personally, I always go to the book section of these stores, right? And so I did, and I found this in like the first 5 minutes. A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I was like, what a coincidence. You know, if I believed in chances, if I believed in coincidences, what a coincidence. And it was $2. You know, brand new, it's $14, so I picked it up, and I've been reading it. I'm actually about halfway through with this, and this actually, it's not necessarily a companion book, but I feel like, to me, The Power of Now was like early thoughts, right? This was the formation of something perhaps greater, right, in the future. And then this book here, it says on the back, Tolle expands on these powerful ideas, you know, that he mentions in The Power of Now. So this is really like an expansion guide where he goes more in depth to explain certain ideas and concepts, what he means when he's talking, what he's trying to express, because that's ultimately what is of importance. The words, like Tolle likes to point out, are just like signposts, pointing to something, an inward expression or experience of something else. There's something deeper beyond the words. And so this book is more so pointing towards that deeper thing. And I'm actually enjoying this book thoroughly. But when I first started this book, I became consciously aware of the fact that that voice in my head is combating almost everything that I'm reading in this book. Like, for some reason, that voice in my head is sort of upset with what I'm reading. But it's not because I disagree with what I'm reading. In fact, it's because I agree almost 100%. I feel like this guy nailed it. A lot of the thoughts that I've had, that perhaps I've had trouble expressing, are expressed within the pages of this book. So what I'm saying is that it really resonates with me, but for some reason that causes this voice to fight against it. So when I became aware of that, though, as soon as I became aware of it, I was able to relax that and have a new experience with this book and really allow myself to sort of soak it up and experience it without that constant input, that nagging of that voice, to allow me to really be open to what's being spoken about in this book. And it actually, it has been a great experience for me so far, as far as remaining centered, staying in the moment, and not allowing myself to get caught up in the worries of the past and future, what could happen, all of the what ifs. And today is a big day for me, actually, because my daughter, we have her started in like a Montessori school 2 days a week, and today was actually her first day starting. So I've been like a nervous wreck, you know, thinking about this. The first time that I left my daughter with somebody, but it's actually turned out to be a great experience. As a whole, maybe I'll go into detail with this in a later video, but and so this book, it has helped me to avoid some of these nagging worries, these strange paranoias that my mind will cook up for me, these scenarios that could happen, you know, that cause me all this fear, stress, and anxiety. I've been able to sort of stay away from that, stay centered, focus on what's in front of me, you know what I mean? Even when I'm at work, this has helped me a lot, okay? Because at work, I have a job where it requires a lot of my physical attention. I need to be on the job doing things constantly. But I often get distracted from my job with like my cell phone or something that I'm reading. And so I want to say, for example, I want to read or finish just this chapter. But before I can finish that chapter, something happens at work that requires my immediate attention, so I have to continually be putting the book down, and I'm getting frustrated every time I have to go do something. You see what I mean? Because all I can think about is how bad I want to read this book or how bad I want to finish watching this video. And so this whole mentality, I've had my priorities messed up, and so this allows me to struggle, right? This whole thought process. And so this book has allowed me to sort of become conscious of this in a wide variety of scenarios in my life, and has proved very beneficial for me. So like I said, at first, like with The Power of Now, I had some concerns with reading it. It's not really my type of thing. I feel like it's very introductory. It's written for people who possibly have never been exposed to the world of spirituality or the world of spiritual thought, abstract thinking like this, right? Because the book is even made in a certain format, like it's almost like an interview. There are regular people asking the spiritual master questions, and he's breaking it down in a very simple, very practical way. And for some reason I just couldn't really get into that. But then when I picked up this book and allowed myself to be open to the experience, it's been very eye-opening. And for one, just finding the book sitting on the shelf for $2, this was sort of like a confirmation for me that I had picked up or started to read an Eckhart Tolle book, then seemingly randomly anyway, found this one. I took it as like a confirmation that I should go ahead and read this and allow myself to be open to whatever experience it brings. And it's been pretty beneficial. I would recommend this one. I mean, I'm sure that they have an audio version on YouTube, but anyway, I'm sorry if the video I just uploaded seemed like I left off in the middle of something. But yeah, anyway, dude, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in a few days. Until next time, I hope you continue to free your